Welcome to In-Depth Outdoors, bringing you ice fishing's hottest bites with James Holt, Scott Stile, and the IDO fishing team. Walleye, crappie, pike, lake trout, and more. We'll take you to North America's top destination in search of your favorite species. More fish, bigger fish, In-Depth Outdoors. Brought to you by Lake Master, leading in accuracy, following with success. Markham High Power Ice Sonar. Take the Markham High Power Challenge at markhampower.com. Snowsuit Performance Winterwear, engineered with you in mind. Otter Outdoors. Get out onto the ice and into the outdoors. Custom Jigs and Spins, the hottest baits below the ice.
Rolling. The guys first, just tell me, start the show however you want. Make sure you tell me where we are.
Sure. Catching fish. Oh, trout? Trout. Unbelievable. Good Lord.
How about welcome to Canada, huh?
Welcome to Canada.
It's no lie, folks. We just drilled this hole. We were going to sit down. We were going to do an intro to the show here. And James puts his line down and wham!
That's crazy. So where we're at, we're on Lake of the Woods near Sioux Narrows. And we're out here fishing giant lake trout. And neither of us have ever caught lake trout through the ice. And the big advantage we've got this year is Lake Master did 1-foot contours on this entire area. So we hit the bait shops. We talked to some friends that were up here. First couple of holes we punched, we dropped the transducers down, bait fish galore, and literally, as Scott said, we were gonna do an intro to kind of let everybody know where we're at, and this fish put us in our place. 6 hours from the Twin Cities, but definitely worth it. I've caught a lot of nice walleye through the ice, and I've never had a walleye run like that, or hit like that. That was like an explosion.
That's unbelievable.
I gotta tighten my drag. Just keep going tighter and tighter. Well, I can tell you this right now. You know, normally when guys ask about what kind of reel they're gonna need to, ice fish for walleye or perch or crappie, I always tell them, get a decent reel, but you certainly don't need to invest a lot of money for a good drag system. In this case, you definitely do. Some of these runs have just been incredible.
Sure would be fun if I was fighting it.
Take a turn. Smart guy. I think we got him here. I saw something big and light color just shoot underneath the hole there. Oh, there we go. Water starts bouncing up and down. I don't think you get this much fight out of all the walleyes you catch in a whole winter, bud.
Oh, this is a big one.
Pull him, pull him, pull him. Yes! You in control there, Scotty. Now that we got this one on the ice, we can do a proper intro. This was Scott and my, this is our dream trip for this winter. We've never fished ice or lake trout through the ice. We've done it during the summer, but always wanted to do this through the ice. And that was definitely rewarding. I mean, that drive, this is incredible. And where we're fishing, we're on Lake of the Woods, right near Sioux Narrows. And this area is known for these big lake trout. That was easy enough. What a sweet girl.
Introducing the Markham LX5 High Power Sonar. With 5 times more power than the competition, you'll see baits that are 60% smaller. Offering better target separation, you'll see multiple fish, not just one big blob. And better interference rejection. Markham virtually eliminates interference caused by other flashers. More power means you'll catch more fish. See the difference power makes at markhamtech.com.
just getting the house banked in here, set up. I'm just kind of out in the middle of nowhere, 90 feet of water. There's lots of bait down here. James is just off about 50 yards over there. The nice thing with these trout is you really don't have to chase them around. They swim so fast chasing that bait, they really come to you. So, you know, normally we're bouncing around hole to hole looking for fish. It's going to be kind of nice to have the fish come to us one time.
Got one. I got a trout. Oh, you don't like that much. That big red blob on the Markham come flying up. I couldn't move that spoon fast enough. That was awesome. Been out here about 15 minutes, and I'm sure you can hear that. That is a good sound. I know from the digging around we've done, the information we were able to find is that you're not going to catch a lot of lake trout in this particular area, and they're all going to be big. And this one definitely feels the part. Oh, that's incredible. Just before that fish come in, the Markham screen was just full of bait fish. There's all kinds of small, thin, thready returns from Tullaby. Just prior to hooking up that lake trout, we were catching these. This is obviously what those trout were coming in for. We're not fishing baits that big, but definitely that same color. Real silvery, real blue. Oh, we're getting awful close here. This fish was just below the surface. You can kind of see the water in the hole jump up and down. Man. These fish are just brute power. Oh, that line is just pow, pow, pow. I'm awful glad Scott brought the 10-inch auger blade. Oh, come on. Oh my word. I just saw his head come up the bottom of the hole and it pretty much filled the whole hole. There he is. Oh, come on. That is a big fish. Oh, right there. She's still got a lot of fight. Oh, we fought this fish longer than we were here before we hooked it up. Oh, that's incredible. Here's that slender spoon. That fish wanted every last bit of it. You can see it way down in there. You got to figure as that fish was coming up, that spoon started to flutter down and it was just a easy meal. Just engulfed it. Oh, what a fish. That was worth the drive. Really the key to targeting these lake trout is not looking for the fish themselves so much as you are looking for their prey, these smelt and tullaby that are in really large schools out over this deeper water. If you look on the Markham, you can see my jig moving there. It's the highest up return. And below that, you can see a small school of bait fish. It looks like there's about 3 or 4 bait fish hovering right there at about 12 on my dial. What we try to do is we try to stay over those bait fish returns. And if a lake trout pokes his nose into the cone, then what I want to do is get him to chase. I don't want to gently or seductively jiggle that spoon in front of his nose. I want to get him to get real hot and bothered, so I'll quickly pull that spoon up and get that lake trout to chase. One of the key points that's really making a difference to our presentation today is the type of jigging spoon we're using. On the right-hand side here, this is the type of jigging spoon that most anglers are familiar with. It's that real compact and heavy streamlined jigging spoon used for walleye and perch. Now, on the other side, I've got a slender spoon. That's a custom Jigs and Spins product. And that bait, although it's the same weight as the spoon on my right, it falls a lot slower. You get more of a fluttering, wild action. You pick it up and drop it. Instead of sinking back down real fast, you get this wide wobble and flutter. And these lake trout are really reacting favorably. Those fast falling jigging spoons, we haven't had any fish take a real serious look at them.
Log on to idofishing.com. That's idofishing.com, and you'll be on your way to catching more and bigger fish. And you'll find fishing reports from all your favorite bodies of water, with monster fish photos, a friendly, helpful forum, and streaming video of every In-Depth Outdoors episode available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
This fish was about 20 feet below the ice. I've been fishing down at about 60 feet and way below where this fish actually ended up taking that spoon. I was watching real closely on the LX5, and that big mark showed up on the dial real high. I just reeled up, basically just kept that spoon going right past his face, and he was hot on the chase. It must have just kind of come into his vision. As soon as that spoon started to rise over his head, he was on it. I don't think this fish is as big as that first one. Okay, he's starting to do that same around and around the whole deal. There he is. All right. And these fish don't actually hold any piece of structure. They're roaming out here in these basins and they're chasing these bait fish. 1 minute you won't have anything on your flasher, then the bait fish come in, and these Lakers aren't far behind. So when you drop your transducer down and you don't see fish right away, that doesn't necessarily mean you need to move on. You just need to wait for these big girls to find you. That is a nice fish. Incredible. When Scott and I were planning this lake trout show, we wanted to get into quality fish, but we didn't want to have to drive that far. And for us, we're real lucky to have Lake of the Woods so close. Now, when most people think of Lake of the Woods, they're familiar with Traverse Bay. And now that's the massive, expansive part of Lake of the Woods that's shallow and known for the great walleye fishing. What we're after lake trout. So we had to go further north up into the islands. In the Narrows area, the lake changes dramatically. It gets real deep. It's very clear, which is a stark contrast to the body of water further to the south, and it's home to some huge lake trout. Now what we're going to be looking for, we're looking for basin areas, just expansive areas of water that don't change very much in depth. We're going to be looking in that 80 to 100 foot of water range, targeting schools of roaming bait fish. What we've learned is you don't want to be out there looking to fish structure, looking for these Lakers to be relating to points and islands and humps. So we're going to find these areas, find the bait fish, and the lake trout will come find us.
Well, this has been the hot hole all day, and I want to thank James for taking a run.
Who's your buddy?
James has had the hot hole all day. He's caught a lot of fish, and so I thought, you know, he's going to take a run out of his house. I'm going to go see what his hole looks like. I jigged this thing 2 times, and that fish came smoking up from about 20 feet below the jig. Just hammered that spoon.
You know, I would have done the same thing to you if the roles were reversed. So. Well, I'll have you know, as soon as you get this fish on the ice, you're going back to your own house.
Hey, no problem. You know, and I've been marking so much bait fish. I set into one this morning, a thing popped off, and I was like, oh, and then I hear you over here, oh, I got another one down there, and I'm thinking, all right, I just blew that chance. And I don't know, you've been marking a lot of fish in this hole.
I have,
yeah.
Yep.
And you do seem to have more bait down there than anywhere else around here.
The scenario is the same every time. Your flasher, the Markham, will just load up with bait, and it'll get real intense, and the bait fish will kind of get clustered around the jigging spoon, and then those bait just disappear. And you just know, just hold on, here it comes. They didn't leave for no reason.
You know, and it seems to be that really big flutter and fall of that spoon. You know, those bait were down there, and I thought, well, there's got to be one right around them bait. That's how they've been going all day. That was close.
That one just blew bubbles, yep. Ooh. Music. That's just sweet music, dude.
There's nothing I can do. I mean, I'm not... That's unbelievable.
And this is a medium heavy rod. I mean, so when it's bent like that, you know that fish is leaning on it.
We're in 90 feet of water, and I got about 80 feet of work to do now again. God, he's close. His water's just pounding there. He's got to be in the hole almost. See him at all?
Yes, I do. This is another big fish. Holy smokes, is that a foul?
Yes!
Oh,
Yes!
incredible. That slender spoon, one hook and barely hooked, buddy.
Wow.
Good job fighting that one. Dude, that slender spoon, one hook. So barely hooked in the roof of that mouth. You did a great job fighting it. It's incredible.
Barely got that.
Man, my hand's cold. You take it.
That is a great fish. You know, that's what it's all about right there. You jig hard out here all day just for a chance at one of those. You know, for me, that's a fish of a lifetime. I don't fish a lot of lake trout. For me, that's as good as it gets right there.
We drove 6 hours. I'd have drove 10. This is incredible.
I'm gonna get this back off and get them back down there.
Otter Pro Series fish houses have all the technology and comfort that you demand. The toughest sled on snow and ice will handle all your gear and then some. Flip over the custom-made 900 denier ballistic canvas top for instant comfort. Plastic runners make pulling or towing the sled easy so you can cover more water and catch more fish. Aircraft quality, modified square tubular framing, and ultra-comfortable swivel seats keep you warm and dry catching fish in any weather. Pick up your Otter Pro Series house at your local dealer today or visit our website.
I got another one, buddy.
God, you are on fire today.
I am on fire. This is just fantastic. It just doesn't stop. You know, not all days are like this. This is just incredible. Anybody that thinks they could get by fishing walleye gear, you know, walleye weight ice rods, you know, that 20 to 28 inch stuff, they'd be here all week. It really wouldn't be doing the fish justice. What we're using a 42 inch custom rod from, whoa, goodbye.
He didn't like that one.
He didn't like that at all. Back to the rod. We're using a custom rod from Thorn Brothers. They use a St. Croix blank, and this is a graphite blank. It's real sensitive and light, and it's a lot heavier than your average walleye rod. It's got a lot of backbone. You know, the baits you fish, the lures you present are a lot heavier, and of course, these fish are just nasty strong.
That's got to be getting close. Here
Here,
come the bubbles.
you
There
got
it
him?
is. Yeah, here he is.
Oh, watch that spoon. Oh, awesome.
Boy, is that a nice fish.
Now that is a little bit of leaner fish there. Doesn't have that huge belly.
Hammered that spoon again. You couldn't pull it away fast enough,
No,
huh?
you couldn't.
Gosh, that's a nice one.
Somebody's gonna have to bring us dinner because we're not leaving.
This is incredible.
When you can say that's the smallest fish of the day, that's some fantastic fishing.
That's incredible. You know, that's a little skinnier than your other ones, but still got a nice belly on it. God, does it get any better?
I hope to find out. We'll stick around.
Let's get that one back.
Absolutely.
And,
All right, sweetie. What you're seeing here, that's my spoon right at the bottom of the dial, and everything below that and to the left, those are all Tulabee. I've got it set to that narrow beam transducer setting right now, and that's eliminated a lot of those bait fish and other targets that I'm seeing way out at the edges. If we're in 100 foot of water and we're running a 20-degree transducer, we're seeing almost a 35-foot wide circle area of that bottom. By going to that narrow beam transducer, I've cut it down to under half, which means it's much more focused and it's much more useful information to me versus just cluttering up the entire screen. And that's an exclusive feature for Markham. Another tip I'd like to offer when you're out here fishing lazy lake trout is do not get hung up targeting the bottom. That would be like a walleye fisherman's mentality or maybe even a perch fisherman's mentality. With these lake trout, they're almost never near the bottom or even in that bottom 20% of the water column. So you really need a flasher to target those fish, and they're never coming in at the same level time after time. One time they'll come in at 60 feet, the next time they're at 40, the next time they're at 20, right below the ice. And what we're doing is we're watching our Markham dial very intently, and as soon as we see a big object show up, a big target show up on our dial, we reel up to put that bait in front of their face. So at any one moment, I could go from 60 feet to 20 feet and back down again to stay on these fish.
Introducing the Markham LX5 high-power sonar. With 5 times more power than the competition, you'll see baits that are 60% smaller. Offering better target separation, you'll see multiple fish, not just one big blob. And better interference rejection. Markham virtually eliminates interference caused by other flashers. More power means you'll catch more fish. See the difference power makes at markhamtech.com.
coming up. Got one! Got one! James! James! What? I got one. Feels like, oh, this is a good one.
What's wrong with your rod? Huh.
It's got a very large lake trout on the end.
Should I come back later?
It could be a while.
Now, you're running 8-pound test, right?
Yep,
Okay.
8-pound Berkeley Vanish, fluorocarbon. The nice thing is every one of these is a true trophy. I mean, think how lucky we are. I mean, every time you see one on the screen, you know that's a trophy. I mean, it doesn't get any better.
Well, this is something unique for the ice fishermen in that, you know, the crappies and the bluegills and the perch, the fight's over before it starts. With these lake trout, I mean, 10, 15 honest minutes where you're doing nothing but just holding on.
Wow.
You're cutting into my lunch, Style.
God, he just hammered that slender spoon. I mean, you know, when they're coming up so fast, your line goes slack. You're pulling it away from them, trying to entice them, and then your line goes slack. You're in the shack and you're trying to reel it up to try.
Well, that's what's so much different about this fish species from, you know, walleye or perch or crappie. These fish feed so vertically. They'll come up a huge distance to hit a bait where, you know, walleye will feed in this direction. What Scott's talking about is that as that spoon's fluttering down, that fish will charge so fast that it'll grab the bait and overshoot, which forces the angler to literally just reel like heck just to catch back up.
I think we're getting close now.
No sight. Still not seeing him, Scotty.
I can feel the line though.
Yeah.
You know, that it's right on the edge of the hole.
He's off
there.
to the side. Well, that was a big head shake. Oh! That's going to be a knuckle buster. Next time you say fish on, I'm going to wait about 15 minutes and then come over. Come on. You know, oh, there he is. Ooh, great big fish. Oh, just completely blue bubbles everywhere. It looks like a 2x8, trying to be fit sideways up the hole.
Now we're making ground again.
You know, that sounds awful familiar.
Try to get them aimed head first in the hole here instead of... Ooh.
What do you think you got there, Scotty? Take your fish, buddy.
That is a heavy fish.
Your arm's starting to shake. What's
Yeah.
going on?
That's called sore shoulder.
We're sore, and she still wants to go.
I think I'm gonna have to end the day on that one. My shoulder is sore. God, it's just been a great day.
This was our dream trip. We've been planning this since last July. We wanted to come to Ontario to do just this, tangle with some monster lake trout. And you know, it really wasn't as hard as we thought it might be. Lake Master puts out a great product for Lake of the Woods around Sioux Narrows. With a little advice from some local contacts, we were able to get on some great fish pretty quick. And I'll be back next year.